Lydia thought the church was empty when she went back for her daughter's bag, but when she heard the low, unnatural chanting coming from the altar, she realized she wasn't alone, and what she saw the pastor doing in the dark changed her life forever. The sound wasn't human. It dragged across the empty church like something breathing through a broken throat, low, stretched, and wrong. Lydia froze at the doorway. Her fingers tightened around the strap of her daughter's school bag. She had already found it. That was supposed to be the end of this. In and out, no delay. But the sound came again, clearer, not a mind. Lydia stopped walking. Slowly, she turned. Her heartbeat shifted. Just check. She muttered under her breath. Just confirm and go. One step, then another. Each footfall echoed too loudly in the silence. The air felt different as she moved closer, heavy, like something unseen had filled the space. The sound grew clearer, rhythmic, deliberate. Lydia's breath caught. Jesus, she whispered. She stopped halfway. Her mind screamed at her to leave, to run, to forget whatever this was. But something held her there, curiosity, or maybe something deeper. She forced herself forward again, her eyes fixed on the altar. The closer she got, the more the sound sharpened, layered, like someone speaking through clenched teeth. Then a flicker. From the side, a faint light. Lydia's head snapped towards it, and in that instant, something inside her shifted. Not a thought, a warning, clear, firm, urgent. Hide, or you will lose your life. That was the warning Lydia heard inside her soul. Her body reacted before her brain could catch up. She turned sharply, scanning the front of the church. To the left of the altar, a small door stood slightly open, the prayer room. She didn't think twice, she ran. She slipped into the narrow space beside the door and pressed herself flat against the wall, pulling the door just enough to shield her without closing it completely. Her breathing came faster, too fast. Calm down, she mouthed silently, but her chest refused. Her heart pounded like it wanted out. Then the voice came again, inside her, not loud, just steady. Don't move. Don't speak. Watch. Lydia swallowed hard and nodded. She leaned slightly, just enough to see the altar through the small opening. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then, footsteps, slow, measured, coming from the main entrance. Lydia's finger dug into the wall. A figure stepped into view. Her stomach dropped. It was the pastor. But something was wrong. Everything about him felt off. He was dressed in black, not his usual bright suits, not the smiling, welcoming man who stood on the altar every Sunday. This version of him walked differently, slower, heavier, like someone carrying more than just his body. In his hands, a calabash, held carefully with both hands, close to his chest. Lydia's mouth went dry. What is this? She breathed silently. The pastor didn't look around, didn't hesitate. He walked straight to the altar, set the calabash down gently, then stood there. For a moment, nothing happened. Then he began to speak. The first word made Lydia's skin tighten. It wasn't English, it wasn't tongues. This was structured, ancient. Each word rolled out slow and deliberate, like something memorized over years. Lydia felt her legs weaken. No, she whispered under her breath. The pastor's voice grew stronger, faster, the words blending into each other. Then he dipped his hand into the calabash. Lydia couldn't see clearly what was inside, but whatever it was, it glistened under the dim light. He lifted his hand, sprinkled something onto the altar, then continued speaking. The atmosphere changed instantly. It wasn't imagination, it was real. The air grew thick, like pressure pressing down on her chest. Lydia's breath hissed, fearfully settled now. Jesus, she mouthed. Her mind raced. Run. leave, escape, but her legs refused. The voice inside her came again. Stay quiet. The pastor's voice rose, faster now. He moved around the altar, tracing patterns, pouring something from the calabash, muttering words Lydia couldn't understand. The sound filled the empty church, heavy, unsettling. Lydia stood frozen behind the door, her body trembling uncontrollably, her hand pressed hard against her mouth. Tears rolled down her face silently, dropping onto her fingers. Her chest tightened. The fear was too much. Then, a soft sound slipped out, a broken sniff, barely there, but in the silence, it echoed. The pastor stopped instantly. Silence crashed into the room. Lydia's heart skipped. Her eyes widened in terror. No. Slowly, the pastor turned. I heard the sound, he said. His voice was no longer chanting. It was alert, sharp, human. Lydia's body went cold. Her breathing became uneven. She tried to hold it in, but fear tightened her chest again. Another shaky breath escaped. The pastor stepped away from the altar. There is someone here. He began to walk, slow, listening, coming closer. Lydia's back pressed harder against the wall. Her hands shook violently now. God, please, she mouthed silently. Nothing came out. Her throat felt locked, tight, like something held it closed. The footsteps drew closer, right towards her. Her heart pounded so hard, it felt like it would give her away. Tears streamed down her face, and in that moment, her lips began to move, barely a whisper. Father, please, hide me. Her voice was trapped in her throat, but her lips kept forming the words. She remembered Psalm 91. Her breathing shook. I that dwells in the secret place, the pastor was getting closer, shall abide. Her body trembled harder. Under the shadow of the Almighty, the footsteps stopped right in front of her. Lydia's eyes flew open. The pastor stood there, close, too close, looking, searching. Her lips still moved silently. Surely he shall deliver me. Her heart slammed against her chest. The pastor stepped closer, looked directly at the spot where she stood. Lydia's heart slammed. He's seeing me. He has to be seeing me. But his eyes moved past her, like she wasn't there, like she didn't exist. He frowned slightly, turned his head, listened again, then shook it off. He stepped back, walked away. Lydia didn't move. She couldn't. Her entire body was frozen. The pastor returned to the altar, picked up the calabash again, and this time, his voice dropped lower, darker. The words came out slower, heavier, like each one carried weight. He dipped his hand into the calabash again. When he lifted it, Lydia saw it clearly now, a thick red liquid. He poured it across the altar in a straight line, then used his fingers to spread it, drawing symbols, shapes Lydia couldn't understand, but something about them felt wrong, ancient, forbidden. The air tightened again. The temperature dropped slightly, or maybe it was just her body reacting, but she felt cold. Then he spoke again, this time louder, calling something, not praying, not worship. The sound echoed through the empty church, bouncing off the walls like it didn't want to leave. Then he slammed his palm against the altar. Once, the sound cracked through the room. Lydia flinched violently, and in that moment, the atmosphere shifted instantly, like something had answered. Her breath caught. She didn't see anything clearly, but she felt it, a presence, heavy, watching. Her eyes filled with fresh tears. Jesus, she mouthed silently. The pastor bowed his head slightly, in acknowledgement. Then slowly, he wiped his hands with a cloth from his pocket, lifted the calabash again, held it close to his chest, and without looking back, he turned and began to walk out, each step steady, unhurried, like a man who had finished exactly what he came to do. Lydia didn't move. She couldn't. She stayed where she was, her body still pressed against the wall, her mind racing. What if he comes back? What if he knows? Her breathing remained shallow, fast. Then, that quiet voice again. He's gone. Lydia swallowed hard. Still, she waited. Seconds passed, then a full minute, then more. Only when the silence settled deep, when it felt safe enough, did she finally move. Slowly, carefully, she stepped out from behind the door. Her legs felt weak, unstable, like they might give out at any moment. Her eyes went straight to the altar, and she froze. The symbols were still there, barely visible. Lydia's stomach turned. "Don't go closer," the voice warned. She didn't. She tightened her grip on the bag, turned away immediately, and started walking, fast enough that her footsteps echoed unevenly through the empty hall. Every shadow made her flinch. Every corner felt like something could step out. She reached the middle of the church, then stopped. Her heart skipped. For a split second, she felt it again, that presence behind her, watching. Her body went cold. "Don't look back." The instruction came instantly, firm. She obeyed. Her eyes fixed straight ahead. She started walking again, faster now, almost a run. She reached the door, pushed it open, stepped outside, and the moment fresh air hit her lungs, she ran without control. Her slippers slammed loudly against the ground as she sprinted past the empty streets, past sleeping houses that had no idea what had just happened inside that church. Her chest burned, her breath tore through her lungs, but she didn't stop, not once, not until she reached her house. She fumbled with the key, her fingers shaking so badly it took 2 tries to get it into the lock. The door finally opened. She slipped inside and shut it quickly, locking it behind her. Only then did she stop, her back pressed against the door, her chest heaving, sweat clung to her skin. "Mommy!" The voice pulled her back. Her daughter stood in the hallway, eyes wide with concern. "Mommy, what happened? Why are you breathing like that?" Lydia tried to respond. Nothing came out. Her throat still felt tight, like it hadn't recovered from whatever held it earlier. She forced a small smile. "I'm fine," she managed. But it didn't sound convincing. Her daughter stepped closer. "You're shaking." "I said I'm fine," Lydia replied quickly, too quickly. Silence settled between them. Lydia looked away. She couldn't explain. How do you tell a child what you just saw? How do you even explain it to yourself? She walked past her, heading straight to her room. "I'm just tired," she added, softer this time. She shut the door behind her, then leaned against it and slid down slowly to the floor. Her body finally gave in. Tears came fast, uncontrolled. Her hands covered her face. "What did I just see?" she whispered. Her mind replayed everything. The voice, the altar, the calabash, the words, and worst of all, the moment he stood right in front of her and didn't see her. She wiped her face roughly. No, this is not normal." Her chest tightened again. God, what is this place? No answer, just silence. She pushed herself up slowly and moved to her bed, sitting on the edge. Her hands still shook. She clasped them together, tired to pray, but the words felt stuck. Everything felt heavy. Then, that same quiet voice returned, clear, firm. "This battle is not yours." Lydia froze. Her eyes lifted slowly. She knew that voice. It was the same one that told her to hide, the same one that kept her alive. Her breathing slowed. "What do you mean?" she whispered, but no response, just peace. She sat there for a long moment, thinking, weighing. If she spoke, who would believe her? If she stayed, what else would she see? Her stomach turned at the thought. "No," she said quietly, "I'm not going back there." The decision settled in her chest, heavy but clear. That night, sleep didn't come easy. Every sound made her alert. Every shadow felt suspicious. At some point, she drifted off. But the night wasn't done with her. She found herself standing in the church again. The same altar, the same silence. But this time, She wasn't hiding. She was standing right in front of it. Her body felt frozen. Then the ground beneath the altar shifted, cracked slowly, and something moved underneath. Lydia tried to step back. She couldn't. The crack widened, and hands, pale, weak, reaching out, grabbing at the surface. Her breath caught. No! Voices followed, soft, broken. Help us! Lydia shook her head violently. No, no! Then she saw him, the pastor, standing behind the altar, watching, smiling. Too late, he said. Lydia gasped and woke up. Her body jerked upright. Sweat soaked her clothes. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. She looked around, her room, her bed, safe, but her heart refused to calm. That was a dream, she whispered, but deep down, she knew it wasn't just a dream. Morning came slowly. Lydia moved through it like someone carrying a weight no one else could see. She avoided eye contact, spoke only when necessary. Her daughter watched her quietly. Mommy, are you sure you're okay? Lydia forced another small smile. I'm fine. She didn't talk about it. She moved around the house like nothing had happened, cooking, answering her children, responding when spoken to. But inside, something had shifted, a quiet alertness, like her spirit refused to relax. 2 days later, her daughter woke up weak. That alone was strange. This was a child who rarely fell sick, always active, always strong. Mommy, I feel tired, she said, her voice low. Lydia touched her forehead, warm, not alarming, but not normal either. Maybe it's just stress, Lydia said, more to herself than to the child. She gave her food. She rested her, but by evening, the weakness worsened. Her daughter couldn't stand properly. Her eyes looked heavy, her breathing slightly uneven. Lydia's chest tightened. This is not ordinary, she muttered. By night, the fever came, sharp, sudden. Her daughter tossed on the bed, restless, murmuring faintly. Lydia sat beside her, her hands cold despite the heat in the room. Her mind raced. Hospital, drugs, test. Then that voice, calm, clear. This is not a hospital situation. Lydia froze. Her fingers tightened around the bedsheet. You need to pray. Silence followed, but instruction stayed, firm, undeniable. Lydia stood up slowly, closed the door, knelt beside the bed. Her voice came out low at first, unsteady. Father? She paused, swallowed, then continued. You saved me. Don't let anything touch my child. Her hands rested gently on her daughter's head. She began to pray, intentional prayers. She opened her Bible. Her eyes fell on familiar words. Psalm 91, the same one she whispered that night. He who dwells in the secret place, her voice steadied as she read, shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The room felt still, like something was listening. That night, she didn't sleep. She prayed, read, watched, every hour, every minute. Day 2, the fever didn't break. It stayed, not rising, not falling, just there, heavy. Her daughter barely spoke. That evening, Lydia almost gave in. She reached for her phone, hospital, doctor, anything. But before she could dial, that same quiet restraint settled inside her. Not words this time, just knowing. Stay. She dropped the phone, returned to the bedside, knelt again. Lord, I won't move unless you say move. Her voice didn't shake this time. It held. Day 3, the fever peaked. Then it broke. Just like that. No warning, no gradual drop. One moment, heat. The next, cool. Lydia blinked, placed her hand on her daughter's forehead again. Normal, completely normal. Her daughter opened her eyes fully for the first time in days. Mommy, I am hungry. Lydia let out a breath she didn't realize she had been holding. Tears filled her eyes instantly. Not panic, relief. Deep, quiet, certain. By evening, the child was sitting up, talking, laughing softly, like nothing had happened. No weakness, no trace. It was as if those 3 days had been erased. 2 days later, the news came. 2 people in the church, dead. Same week, same pattern. They just fell sick, someone said. Very sudden. Within 3 days, they were gone. Lydia's body went cold. Her fingers tightened around her phone. 3 days. Her breathing slowed, but her mind didn't. It connected clearly, too clearly. She didn't speak. She didn't ask questions. But deep down, she knew. Whatever brushed her house did not finish what it started. That was the end for her. No announcement, no discussion. She left the church completely. No going back. She found another church. Quiet, no pressure, just normal. And for the first time in weeks, her spirit rested. Months passed. Life slowly returned to rhythm. Then one Sunday, she met Collins. Not planned, just a conversation after service. Simple greetings turned into longer talks, then familiarity, then friendship. One afternoon, while they sat outside after service, the conversation shifted. "Where did you worship before here?" he asked casually. Lydia hesitated, then mentioned the name of her former church. The man went quiet, too quiet. Lydia noticed. "You know the place?" she asked. He nodded slowly. "I used to attend there." Her chest tightened slightly. "Used to?" He exhaled, then leaned back. "My spirit told me to leave." Lydia's eyes narrowed slightly. "What do you mean?" He looked at her carefully, like he was measuring how much to say. "Things didn't add up," he said. "At first, you won't notice. Everything looks normal, powerful even." He paused, then continued. "But every few months, someone would die." Lydia's fingers curled slightly. "Not accident," he added. "Not long illness, just sudden sickness, short, sharp, then gone." Silence settled between them. Lydia didn't interrupt. "I started having dreams," he said quietly, "about the altar. Things happened there that people couldn't see." He looked down briefly. After a while, I stopped ignoring it. Then he looked back at her. "So I left." Lydia didn't speak immediately. She just stared at him. Then slowly, she nodded. Once, not in surprise, in confirmation. That night, she sat on her bed, alone, her Bible open beside her. She didn't panic. She just understood everything. The night, the ritual, her daughter's sickness, the 3 days, the death, the dreams. It's all aligned. She closed her eyes and spoke softly. "Lord, open their eyes." Her voice was calm, firm. "Those who are still there, show them and bring them out." She didn't pray for revenge. She prayed for sight. Not every altar is safe, and not every danger looks like danger. Sometimes it wears a collar and waits quietly for those who don't know what to look for. Discernment matters more than appearance. When God warns you, don't argue, move. And I hope you enjoyed this story. If you want to see more stories of light overcoming darkness, watch this next video. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.